Governor Mike Huckabee, of course, from the great show on Fox on weekends, Huckabee, and a lot of people hoped he was going to get into this race. And I guess you don't have to ever say never. Do you, Governor? How are you?
I'm doing great, Laura. Well, you never say never, but, my decision at this point is pretty clear. And yet it was interesting watching the debate, and it's almost kind of interesting and fun to watch it as an observer rather than a participant. I get to be a lot more snarky in my analysis.
Well, my question is, when you're starting the debate talking about the NLRB, I mean, do you really expect a lot of people to be watching this thing? I mean, at the beginning, I thought if we don't move away from the NLRB, I mean, we're not going to have anybody watching this by the end of the debate. But that's just my weird fascination. Governor, who do you think came across the best and perhaps the most commanding on that stage?
I think the person who did herself the most good, and obviously I've revealed it, was Michele Bachmann, because she showed a clarity and a feistiness. Mitt Romney probably did himself well because he didn't have to defend anything. He was able to be the front runner. Nobody really went after him. That's unusual because typically if you're the front runner, everybody's kind of got you marked and they're going to go after you to try to take something off of you. That just didn't happen. And you mentioned Pawlenty, and I think the overall analysis today is, why did he go after Romney so clearly on Fox News Sunday with Chris Wallace, and then the very next night basically run away from his own comments? And I like Pawlenty. He's a good friend. He's a great candidate, by the way, and I think he's got a strong record that he brings into it. But it was Michele Bachmann who showed up with the gloves on last night.
Yeah, I mean, I think Bachmann came across strong and definitive and very likable at the same time. I think she was probably the happiest warrior on stage.
That means a lot. People sometimes forget that it's not what one says, it's how one says it that is equally important. And one of the things that I think Michele Bachmann does bring to the race is a level of energy and also a sense of exuberance, a sense of optimism. What Americans want right now as much as anything, they want to be told that we're going to get rid of this president and get back to getting America on track. And I think more than anyone right now who's on the stage, she's not giving a gloom and doom message. She's realistic about the debt. She's straightforward about the problems that we face with our overspending and some of the issues that we've confronted. But she's also giving us the sense that we can turn this around. And I think every candidate who's going to be serious, that's what they're going to have to do.
And, Governor, meanwhile, the president is busy trying to appear to be serious about jobs and the economy. And he goes down to Florida, obviously a pivotal state, as you know, for the presidential election. Goes down to Florida and only manages to fill half of an auditorium. It does raise some money, but only fills half the auditorium. And his wife, Michele, is busy fundraising in Southern California as she's on her way to, an African trip, a state visit to Africa with her daughters. It seems very odd. The most serious business going on in the White House seems to be campaigning. The most focus seems to be raising money.
Well, I think that's the only thing they're good at. They're not good at governing. This is a president who's cost us more jobs. We've kept the unemployment rate higher than he promised it would ever go, especially if we spent all that money on the porkulus bill. He's good at golf. I think he's a good husband. I think he's a good father. And frankly, I hope after next year he'll get to spend a whole lot more time with his wife and children and on the golf course and maybe as a business consultant telling businesses what not to do, because that's what he seems to be doggone good at. It certainly isn't creating jobs and building the economy back.
Well, he was asked a number of questions on the Today Show, and they ran the whole interview today. I know you were eating your Special K. You're on your elliptical, right? You still do that elliptical, Gov? You up on that elliptical every day?
I still do it. I was actually riding a bicycle this morning out on the road. It was such a beautiful day.
Well, so you're riding the bike, and Ann Curry, meanwhile, is doing this interview with Obama. It's a taped interview, and she's asking about why is it that the stimulus didn't seem to work? Why is it that businesses aren't really, hiring, and what's happening? Now, listen to what the president says in response.
There are some structural issues with our economy where a lot of businesses have learned to become much more efficient with a lot fewer workers. You see it when you go to a bank and you use an ATM. You don't go to a bank teller. Or you go to the airport and you're using a kiosk instead of checking in at the gate. We are on the right track. The key is figuring out how do we accelerate it.
Okay, now we have a lecture on, there are these things called ATMs. Haven't we had ATMs for about 25, 30 years in the United States of America?
At least 30 years. I mean, they're not even new. But here's what I'd like to suggest. If it's so great to automate, then why do we keep hiring federal workers? How come the only job sector that we continue to have more people in is at the federal level? Why can't we automate some of those functions? Or here's a novel idea. Why don't we get rid of some of them? Why don't we send home some of these people from the EPA and other regulatory bodies that are killing jobs? Mr. President, the reason we don't have jobs is not because of ATMs and kiosks. It's because of people like you who don't understand how the economy works and who've never signed the front of a paycheck. Gee, I'd like to be doing that interview instead of Ann Curry today.
No, first of all, this is people are listening to you right now on the show, Governor, and they're thinking, why is this man not running for president? I mean, we just need someone to speak this way on these stages during these debates, where it's just boom, boom, boom. It's right off the right off the top of your head, and it's colloquial and it's conversational. And I mean, I don't mean to keep bringing this up, but I feel like sometimes in these debates, the candidates are so worried about saying something wrong that they don't sound like normal people. Just speaking from the heart.
They honestly sound like they're talking to a group of people assembled around the boardroom of a corporate office.
Yes.
I would say that the number one thing, and I'm going to go back to my friend Tim Pawlenty, he needs to get rid of some of his consultants. I saw this with Romney 4 years ago, and I'm seeing it with Pawlenty now. Overcoached, overconsulted. Get rid of them.
Looks fearful.
Walk into the hall with your heart. Go in there with what you know you believe and what you know you have done. Listen to the question. Speak to it. If you make a mistake, so what? Americans can live with their leaders if they make mistakes. What they can't live with is a leader that doesn't know where his own compass is pointing. And that's what I think Americans, and particularly Republicans, are looking for on every one of those debate stages. Who comes here not so much with an index card filled with clever answers that a consultant wrote, but who comes here with the clarity of conviction and the consistency of thought? That's what we look for.
Do you think Romney can beat Obama?
Yeah, I think he can. And, I've said to many people, I know there's always this been narrative about the Mike Huckabee, Mitt Romney feud, but if Mitt Romney's our nominee, you're going to see me support him because every day of the week and twice on Sunday, Mitt Romney's going to be one heck of a better president than Barack Obama. And so whoever from our team gets the nod, I can assure you I want them to be the next president.
Would there be any way you would consider being vice president?
I was asked that a few weeks ago at the Clinton Center, and I think, the next thing I know, I'm reading that I'm toying the idea, I'm applying for the job. All I said was this, and I think it's a statement of fact. Sometimes my candor is misinterpreted as ambition, but what I said was vice presidency is the job nobody ever wants, and nobody ever turns it down.